713. To the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying. Sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest. Flying right up. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. I'm fine. You make everything feel fine. Everybody respond. I'm racing down, yeah. It's racing down, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype. Throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mugs. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. Still loading. There's a lot of things that are still loading. Still getting this season kicked off as well. Pete, how are you? Apart from that match today, how are you?
Apart from that match today, I'm great. Absolutely great. Good time with the family this weekend. I feel great despite going back to work. That's aside from the football. I'm sure we'll get into how we feel about the football game and how we feel about that Bournemouth match today. But how do you feel, Daz? How's things with you, mate?
Well, hang on. My evening could get worse. Do you have a bank holiday on Monday?
Tomorrow.
That's it. Good luck, Pete. I'm off. See you later.
Hold on a second. Hold on. You can't do that, because you had a bank holiday not long ago.
Yeah, the start of August.
You rubbed it right in our faces. So, come on, we've got to get one back.
Oh, look at. Enjoy it, everyone that has a bank holiday tomorrow. Some of us have to go back to work. Well, but apart from that, Pete, don't build your weekend around the match. Lesson learned. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the lineup first, because this was the lineup. So, no Dubravka and no Oddy. Trips on the bench. Hall on the bench. Kelly starts as predicted by away days, I believe. And I think you even said it last week, Pete. Alex Murphy back on the bench. Kraft in for Shar. And we were playing in the white shirts for the debut for the white shirts. But here's actually how we lined out then. You can see it a bit better that way in the visual sense. But what did you make of the lineup, Pete?
There was a pleasant surprise to see Lloyd Kelly in the team. There was rumours that could be Lewis Hall. We'd even talked on away days, myself and Chris, about the fact that could Kelly potentially play in the centre back pairing with Dan Burn. But it was good to see him start. I think it was the right decision to start. I think looking at the defensive element, I think it was probably the right thing to do. So we'll get into what happened after that. So it was. I think that was the big surprise there. The rest of the team, it was as we expected, albeit we did share a suggestion of what we would like to happen. And maybe we'll talk about that later on in the game. But the rest of the team was as we expected. Good to see Lloyd Kelly get his first full debut for the club.
Yeah. Sure. And here was the Bournemouth squad as well, and how they lined up the debut for Evan Nielsen as well. Of course.
Surprised to see Huijsen not start, considering he started the first game. That was the big thing that kind of stood out for me, the fact that Huijsen didn't start. Other than that, I kind of expected it, but just a little 2 pence on their team as well.
Cool. Right, let's get into it. Let's walk through the game as my screens start flashing here for some reason. But we're good to go. Hang on. There's some tunes. Bring us the tune speech first before I go.
You know what? I think we need some good feeling.
Yeah, we do. We need something.
Yeah, we'll throw out the tunes. Of course, Bill. Big up to yourself. Always in the chat early doors. with the Tunes as well. Great to have you in there, Benny. Great to have you in the chat. Tunes, poor. Great assessment there. Thank you for that, Benny. John, great to have you in there. The zebra. Come on.
I love it. That's even better, John.
John. No, John. Just the Tunes. Go on, lad. Great to have you in here as always. Thank you, Clues. Great to have you in there as well. Thank you for your Tune. Jimmy is in there. So lucky. Wasn't much fight in the lads today. Really bad by Joe Linton. We're going to talk about that all, Jimmy. But thank you for your Tune. That is for sure. Harry, great to have you in there as well as Dave. Resident Spanner Clergy, great to have you in there. And I know you've already put some really good points in the chat as well. Keep them coming. We've got Dangle in there. Great to have you in there with your Tunes. We've got Barry. Welcome, Barry. And we've got Mr. M. Smith. I don't think I've seen Mr. M. Smith in the chat before. Welcome. And thank you for tuning in. Connie, as always, great to have you in there as well as Geordie Team for Life. What do you make of that game? Well, we're just about to get into it, Geordie Team for Life. So just hold on to your hats there. Andy Ford is wailing in with the Joe Linton opinion. We'll definitely get into that one, that's for sure. But his Tunes are in the house. Will, great to have you in there. And Tony, he wasn't sure if he was going to put the tune in. He wasn't feeling quite tune today, but I said to him to put it in, so he's gone with a half a tune. So he's just gone for the tune instead.
He'll have 5 tunes during the week when we have a few signings. Don't worry, Tony. Transfer Tony's on the case. Actually, as well, while we're at it, before we get into the game, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. That will enable the chat. If you're also listening on Spotify or Apple or any audio, come find us on YouTube and hit subscribe as well. But that's it. Let's get into the game. Kick off. And Newcastle, they kind of looked hungry. You know how you always say, Pete, the start of a game, you can kind of judge. They looked hungry when they kicked off. An early race for Kraftku versus Ivan Nilsson. But he got his body across and cut him out. Well done, Kraftku, on that one. 7 minutes, chance for Gordon after an Isak cross led to a corner. More corners in succession then for Newcastle as they applied the early pressure for the first 10 minutes or so. 80 minutes, Ivan Nilsson shot saved by Pope. It even got a bit of deflection. I think it was off Kraft. But on the 25-minute mark, Bournemouth had in the last 10 minutes had been starting to come into it. They were more in the game after the early Newcastle pressure. How do you pronounce his name? Semyon, the right winger.
Semenyo.
He hit the bar from a shot from distance. 26 minutes. A nice shot as well. He would be a decent pickup for anyone later on. We could get into that, talk about that.
Robbie into that transfer show, that's for sure.
Exactly. And you know what? Sam from back of the net, he recommended him back in the Kelly face-to-face you had with him outside to the Nottingham Forest. I remember that. So he's decent. But then Newcastle were just finding it difficult to get the ball out. They'd break down the Bournemouth attack, but they were finding it difficult to get the ball out. And then 36 minutes, Marcus Tavernier got a ball in the net, goal. J7 loses it in the middle of the park, and they come up and score 1-0 Bournemouth. Let's stop there. That's actually all my notes for the first half. But what do you make of that? Let's get the goal first, Pete, that we conceded, and your thoughts on the first half.
Yeah, you know what? It was coming, which is so annoying to say, but that goal was coming, and I'm not like Sam will probably be watching and Tom as well, and I'm not being disrespectful in any way to Bournemouth, but Bournemouth didn't look amazing. But we were just allowing them time and time again to get more of a foot on the ball and progress into our half time and time again with ease without having to do anything amazing. And that's so frustrating for me just to watch that happen and watch that unfold. There was plenty of opportunity to stop the cross, to stop that ball getting into the box. Where was the marking? Where was the having a look round to see what players are in the box, like a defender normally should? Just a really, really poor goal to concede. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, it was coming. It was coming. And it kind of feeds into, Daz, kind of my first half analysis of the game, because you've touched on it, and it was my thought as well. For the first 15 to sort of 17, 18 minutes, we were by far the better team. We dominated possession. All the play was in Bournemouth's half. We were pushing. We were kind of, holding possession. We were trying to drive at them. We were getting balls into the box. But the final ball was letting us down. Time and time again, the final ball from the left and the right was letting us down. It just wasn't good enough. No connection from the players, no understanding, no communication on certain runs. Whether it was Isak that put a great ball in across goal, Gordon's kind of stood back rather than making that run to the far post as a winger normally should. There's just no communication there. And you just started to think, after sort of 16, 17 minutes, we've got to score here. Whilst we're up and whilst we're dominating, we need to get a goal, because otherwise you're going to allow Bournemouth back into the game. And you know what, Dad? When they scored after that, because after that 17, 18 minutes, Bournemouth then dominated for the rest of the half. It was Bournemouth's half after that point. Yeah. And they had everything. They had corners, they had free kicks, they were all the possessions in their half. And then the goal come. And I was thinking, when that ball went in, I was frustrated as hell. But then I was thinking back to the previous games at the Vitality, and it was exactly the same. We had moments in those games where we were dominated and we had opportunities to score and we didn't. And then all of a sudden we get punished off the back of it. And I could probably look at other teams where we've done the same. And it's the same old issue. We don't punish teams when we're on top. And when we do, we punish them back. When we punish them, we hit 3 or 4. But in games where we're not quite punishing them, we always end up getting punished off the back of it. We don't stay resolute. We don't see ourselves through that wave. And that's the disappointing thing, that we didn't do that. We didn't get to half time. You're damn right. In that 12th man chat, I have been telling people what I think about that. And I did rein back on one opinion, and I'll share it with you guys later. But with the other, nah. Not a chance, and I'm not holding back at all.
Something you had mentioned before. Sorry, Pete, just to jump. Something you had mentioned before the game, actually, and I see Bruno agreeing with you as well, because you said playing against Bournemouth on their pitch, it's a smaller pitch, and he even says today, a tough game today on a difficult pitch against a tough opponent. So it's something that we have no luck against Bournemouth, never do. Can pop that cherry for Eddie Howe and JT.
Not the only pitch, and this is we'll throw another one out there where we're going on Wednesday night. Forest, although we've won there before, we've won there in previous games. For some reason, Newcastle United cannot play on smaller pitches, and it is a common theme. You look at any pitch that's quite tight to play. I'll throw another one out there. Selhurst Park, can't play on them. Can't play. And it's a running theme with Newcastle United. We cannot play on these tight pitches, whether it's because we want too much time on the ball, whether it's because the type of play we play, that the team presses too hard, too quickly in comparison to St. James's Park. I have no idea, but we can't play on these tight pitches. We never play well on them. And we've got wins on certain pitches, particular Forest. We've won twice in a row there. But on other smaller pitches, we just can't cope, and I don't know why. And I really wanted to see something different today. And I know we're kind of going off on a tangent, but it was a really good point that you've just made. And it's a point that I've said for a while. We have to get past that mentality. We have to be able to play on bigger pitches, tighter pitches, and know how to play differently when we're playing against different teams. But yeah, sorry, it was a good point.
No. Let's continue on. One man sitting in the bench, hands on his head in that first half as well. A lot to think about, has trips as well. But yeah, he did get a run out in the second half. We will definitely be talking about that as well. Right, halftime 1-0. For me, I say as well that calls from our own chat that were saying we need to make changes. We're also saying that Gordon, I'm saying here that he kind of lost his mojo. He's not fully fit. but he looked lethargic at times in that first half. He did spring a bit more into life when he went on the right, and the game was changed at that stage, and he came more into it as well. But J7 though, his head seemed to be gone in that first half from being our man the match in the game against Southampton. But anyway. Right, let's get into it. You're also kind of wondering as well, away from home, is this again? Is this the long running saga? Is the pattern going to develop again for this season? And it can't, because that's it. The show is over then. I think for Eddie, if we have another away a season away from home with similar results, we just need better. Right, first 10 minutes, Newcastle they kind of get worse. In that the first 10 minutes before they got better. But turning point, 57 minutes is a few subs. So on comes Trips on for Tino and Barnes on for Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy didn't have a great game either. I thought Tino did okay in the first half. For me, and I know you're I saw you disagreeing with someone on Twitter, people. I thought Tino, he was one of our better players in that first half. Now, Trippier changed the game, but he was one of our better players in the first half for me. I don't Gordon moves out to the right.
Yeah, I don't think he played bad, Daz. I don't think he played bad at all. When we cover the Trippier, I'll cover both, but I don't want people to think that I thought he had a bad game, that he was rubbish or anything like that, because you're right, he wasn't. I thought he was okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right, let's move on. Gordon moved out to the right there with Barnes coming on. Bournemouth should have had a second. Simeon cross, and then even Ilson sliding, if he got that, was game over. Game over. But then 66 minutes, Barnes shot wide of the post. Should he have passed Isak there? It was Isak that played the ball to him, and a return pass. He was bombing through. He had the hands up in the air, giving out after that. I know you just want to score at that stage, but Isak looked free to me. Do you remember that one?
Is that the one where Barnes puts it just past the post?
Yeah, just past the post. If he had squared it a bit to Isak, he was coming in. You'll see it again. You'll watch it on match day or something.
I had no qualms with him taking the shot.
Neither did I at the time. When I saw the replay.
Yeah, I may need to watch that bit back then, Daz. But I'm not going to lie, I was fuming. I was fuming that he didn't score that, because that position is classic Barnes. I fully expected, even on his left foot, I did expect the net to bulge. But when he got into that position, because he opened himself up to have enough space to take the shot, and in front of goal, he is really good. So, yeah, I'll have to watch that back. But yeah, it wouldn't have been the first time in that game where, the pass hasn't come into the right player at the right time. So, yeah, fair point.
The next round of subs then come on the 68-minute. Willock on for Longstaff, and Lewis Hall on for Kelly. Again, it upped our tempo and changed the game again, the dynamics of the game, because we were on top then with the four subs on. 69 minutes, Joe Linton header, came off his shoulder, saved by the keeper. He should have connected with that. It was the J7 of old in striker position, and again it wasn't clicking for him. He did some things started to click for him after that, but still was such a poor game from J7. Newcastle starting to play some football at this stage. Then comes the Barnes goal. The Gordon goal, because Gordon puts the ball in the back of the net after a cross from Barnes. The ball came across and kind of went through everyone, but this man Gordon was there to put it in the back of the net. It wasn't deserved. We'd started to play a bit of football, but in when you look at the whole game, up to that point, it wasn't deserved. But we take it. But thoughts on Flash's goal, Pete?
Yeah, what I will say is the 4 or 5 minutes before that goal, we were the better team. You mentioned about the changes that came on, and the changes really made the difference. And we all of a sudden we got our attacking mojo back. all of a sudden it was press, attack, which is what we've been, all the fans, the vitality, we were crying out for that the whole game. It just felt like the game was just fizzling out. You made a point earlier, Daz, which you put in the chat during the game. It's like we got into the second half and we almost got worse, like you said. Yeah. And we did, but that injection of life just brought us into the game, and it put us at the table. So for me, I think, was it deserved? Was it not? I don't know. For the attacking intent in that 5 minutes, I think we deserved that opportunity. But Gordon needed that. He needed that big time. He needed that goal. It was brilliant play from Barnes, and Barnes had looked really, really dangerous down that left-hand side, more dangerous than Gordon had looked throughout the whole time playing down that left-hand side for the game. Their right back, who ended up getting hooked, I believe, he literally could not handle Barnes down that left-hand side because he had someone that was willing to go at him, attack him right, left, cutting down either side. What have we said about our left wingers? You need to mix up your game. One time go down the right, cutting on your right. Next time go down the left. Keep them guessing. His head was on the moon, their right back, because he didn't know what to do with Barnes. And Barnes played a fantastic ball. He played a couple, in fact, during the game. He played a fantastic ball to that back post, and credit to Gordon being there to put that in the net. And my house erupted. I'm not going to lie. We went absolutely mental when that went into the net. And my first, after screaming at the TV and going mad for 2 or 3 minutes, my first words that came out after that point was, "Let's go and win the game. Let's go again. Let's go push." But really good goal to see. It just shows what we're capable of, Daz.
Actually, I'm gonna play my reaction here if I can play it, because it wasn't one of relief. It was just kind of frustration, I think.
Get the fuck in!
I don't know if you heard that, but that it was just like, I don't know. It was a strange relief. That one. It was just so frustrating that game up at that point, because you expect so much more from them. But anyway, look. Let's go on. Let's move on a bit. Okay, the game on then at this stage is 1-1. Bournemouth on 77 minutes, because they go for it again, because Scott had an excellent shot just from distance, just went over. Then Semedo, I know I pronounced his name wrong, but I don't care. Unless we sign him, I don't have to learn his name. He's 78 minutes. He had a deflected shot just wide. 81 minutes, then Burns header. He's so unlucky. He kind of tried to place it, but Neto, great save from Neto. Another succession of corners for Newcastle as they went in search of the 3 points. Then Gordon came off, Miggy came on. Bruno had a shot, the top corner, top bins shot. You're going, that's going in, and a whirly save from Neto again. Then 91 minutes. Pope said it was back and over. It was for a neutral. It must have been a hell of a 20 minutes to watch. It was a bit torturous for Bournemouth and us, I'd say. But in 92 minutes, Bournemouth from a corner, and they get a goal. Kind of poor marking, but came off the arm of the Bournemouth player. Here is a shot of the actual the ball coming off his arm, shoulder, arm. What does it actually come off? What are the rules? Well, there's some pictures of the rules as well. No handball if it comes off that green part there in the shoulder, but a handball if it comes off any of that red part. Here's from another angle of that man. But it was ruled no goal. Much to our delight, I was at this stage, and I want to hear your reaction to when that goal went in, Pete. We were just talking about it before we were done there. Well, where was your head at that stage?
Oh, my head was on Saturn, mate. I'm not gonna lie. When that goal went in, I was absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. The reason why I was fuming, mate, is because you could see we were just gifting the game away back to Bournemouth. So as I said to you, when the goal went in, we equalised it, went 1-1. My first scream was, let's go and win the game. Let's go win it. And for another 5 or 10 minutes, we kind of looked like we were going to do that. But then all of a sudden, there is this just, I don't know whether it's this inbuilt reaction where we just start dropping back onto our 18-yard box and we start becoming defensive. And then all of a sudden, we start gifting possession back to Bournemouth. And the 2 or 3 minutes before that happens, there was like 2 or 3 different ping balls in the box where we have the ball and we're just kicking a foot at it. We're not just getting it out, regroup, set back up in oppositions, and we go again. And it was like, we're in the 80th something minute and we're trying to play out. We're trying to play out. It's the 80th minute. They're throwing everything at us and we're trying to play these little intricate passes to get it. Just get the ball out. We're 1-1 when we probably don't deserve it at that point. Get the ball out, regroup, start again. And we're trying to play these little intricate little passes. I'm just thinking, what are you doing? And we just kept gifting them back possession time and time again. And then that's what happened, which ultimately earned the corner in which they scored from. And I was fuming. I was like, how have we managed to do this? To get back into the game when we don't necessarily deserve it and then throw it away again. How have we managed to do this? And then VAR comes to save us. Now, look, I don't know if you share your points on this, Daz, first. I've got my opinion on this. And yeah, let's discuss it, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look at the picture there. Just show. I actually thought it came off the bit between the green and the red. That kind of area is where it came off the player. I actually thought it was a legitimate goal, but when I went in, I was there. There's no way this is getting ruled out. And then as the time went on, I thought I gained some hope. But the rules are the rules. It's ruled out. But I thought they were very hard done by there. But if it was us, I would feel very hard done by.
See, I've got a different opinion on this. And I know a lot of people have said, we got lucky. Alan Shearer's come out and said, bad decision, nothing wrong with it, this, that, and the other. For me, if I'm looking at that situation, I'm looking at that ball going, and I think the referee and VAR have actually made the right decision. And I'll explain why. Is because, obviously, you've got that picture there, and I've got some maybe slightly closer pictures I'll just drop up, Daz. So these are all from social media. It's from a video actually, and it's broken down. And I've got it when the ball's coming in, where the ball's about to make connection, and when it makes connection to the arm. Okay, so this is where the ball's come in at this point. Over Joe Linton, it's coming in. It's not made contact at point. This is when it's just about to make contact. But as you can see the player's arm that scores the goal. Okay, so his arm's right across there, right to his elbow. So you can see that, you can see sleeve, and you can see shoulder. Okay, his shoulder is probably just about, I don't know if you guys, people on the chat can see, the top of where their sleeve sponsor is, where it's got the white line at the top of the sleeve sponsor, like a little white box. That's where the shoulder, where the shoulder is at that point. And then everything down there, right to the red, and then you can see where his elbow is, ultimately just hanging over Dan Burn. Okay, the second shot here, the ball hasn't connected yet, hasn't touched his arm, but you can already see, okay, it's already come across, but it's not covering the red at that point. And at the point of, this is the point of contact.
Impact.
That is the point of contact. So the point of contact is covering the red, it's over the red, it's right bang in the middle, probably where the red is, and in between where the forearm. Okay, so it's the top half of his arm. It's above the forearm. It's the top half of his arm. Okay, right bang in the middle where the red was, and I'll go back previously, right where the red is, it's probably halfway on his arm. Okay, now I understand the rules. with regards to, handball, and it can't hit the shoulder. But the red part there, and we'll go back to the first clip, the red part is not his shoulder. Okay, so if we go back to the second part and the part where contact is made, the contact is directly on the red part, which is on his sleeve, okay, but it's not his shoulder. So if the shoulder is considered okay for a goal, that's fine. But the part in which where the ball makes connection, that is his arm. And that's why I feel like VAR have made the right decision. Now, this is not me being biased to Newcastle United. And look, I've been in the 12th man chat, and I've had Sam, who does the editing stuff for 12th man. I've had Billy coming on saying it should have been a goal. Bournemouth have been robbed. I've had Tom Jordan from back of the net to come on and say he feels like it's got robbed off the back of it. And I understand it. But for me, and this is me personally, this is not about the rules. For me, if we conceding a goal that is directly hit the arm and gone into the net, I don't think for any team, they should get a goal for that. Even if it was Newcastle. If you're hitting the arm and it's going directly into the goal, off the back of that, I don't think it should be a goal. I might be wrong on that, but that's just my own personal opinion. However, and this is what I said on the chat earlier, on the 12th man chat earlier, if that hits his arm there, and it falls down and someone else smashes it into the net, I actually think VAR don't overturn that. I actually think they give the goal. My own opinion is I think they've disallowed the goal because it's contacted and hit the arm and gone straight into the net. Had it come off somebody else or it fell down to somebody and they've smashed it in, I actually think they give the goal. And at that point, for me, I've got no qualms with that. But the fact that it's come off the arm, it just doesn't sit right with me. And this is not just a biased Newcastle opinion. And I said it to the boys on the chat. If it was Villa, if it was Arsenal, if it was somebody else, I'd still have the same opinion. If they're scoring a goal that's directly hit the arm and gone into the net, I don't think it should happen. Because an arm hitting the arm is handball. And you can see from those images, that's not made connection there. That's not made contact. That's image 2 of the 3. And I'll go through. This is image 1. This is image 2, no connection at that point. This is image 3, where connection is made. That isn't the shoulder. That is the right bang smack middle of the top half of his arm. That isn't the shoulder. That's his arm. And so I do believe that VAR made the right decision. People in the chat, I've not seen the chat yet. You might agree, you might not agree, but that's just my opinion. But Daz, from what I've said and from what I've shown you, what's your opinion? Does it change your opinion? You still adding, not adding, but you still have the opinion that it should have been goal, or you think different at the back of that?
It does slightly, because when I look back at this picture as well, the green is shorter, but it is below that. It is slightly below that, even further than I thought. Because I thought it was kind of more on the kind of intersection between the green and the red, but it is more into the red than the green. So yeah, it shouldn't be a goal. But if he had been wearing a long sleeve jersey, it was the same color, that red kind of highlights a bit more. I think that they'd find it harder to disallow that goal. So he should have been wearing long sleeves. There you go. We would have lost the game. Let's move on, because there's more controversy to come. Right, not over yet. That was the 92nd match. Because 95 minutes after Byrne slowed down Neto's kick out earlier and got a yellow card, Joe Linton did something similar, but he did it in a different fashion. He did something like this. Joe Linton on Neto, a clothesline, got a yellow card for it. And you know what? I'll play it back because I have a little video clip of that someone had up on the internet. So I just because I want to get your thoughts here, Peter, on this. Let's watch it one more time. That should probably be in red for me. So
now, this is where I reined myself back in, and I had to say, you know what? Okay, I changed my mind on that, because I'd only seen the stuff on Sky. There was an image on Sky where they slowed it down, And I looked and I thought, man, there's nothing wrong. There doesn't seem anything wrong with that. He's clearly blocked him off. He's blocked him off to stop him. But then I've not seen that. I've not seen that. There was another couple of images that came on social media, and Billy put one across. I'd seen another one. I'd seen a still as well, where it's literally like this. And I look at it and I go, he is incredibly lucky, to be honest. Like, that's the red card. Like, if like having seen those other images, I was kind of like, and now seeing that clip as well, which I hadn't seen back at the time. You know, when you're in the game and you're just watching it and you kind of just bypass it because you're just focusing and you see it really quickly and you go, nah, I'm not with that, get on with the game. But actually, no, that he is incredibly lucky there. And I imagine Eddie Howe's had a quiet word with him about that. You could see, you know what he's trying. He's not trying to maliciously hurt him. He's trying to slow the game down. He's trying to stop them getting a count on it. So you know what he's trying to do, but you can't do that. You can't grab somebody and drag them down by the neck. Like it's a red card. Yeah, it's that's one of those tag teams, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
I have no idea. I just saw it on Twitter and just grabbed it.
It's in their NXT days. But sorry, I'm getting into wrestling mode there. But yeah, it's a red card, mate. It's a red card, and he is incredibly lucky. However, what I will add is that you could argue that that's 1-1 because we didn't deserve to get Shaw sent off last week.
No.
So
that's more. I know they're totally different as separate things. Obviously, two different games, but that's more of a red card than Shaw's one for me.
Well, to put it even simpler than that, Shaw's isn't a red card and Joe Linton's is. So we're kind of like even in one sense, which we shouldn't even need to bring that up as a kind of one-upmanship. Oh, that's one. Like, we're even now. We shouldn't even need to do that because last week should have never been a red card. But that one was. So we have got away with one there. Joe Linton's incredibly lucky. And let's be honest, and a lot of people have said it in the chat, we've said it off air, that kind of sums up Joe Linton's game today because for me, he was the worst player on the pitch. He was dreadful. He was absolutely dreadful today.
And he stayed on the pitch. Even he tried to get himself off the pitch, but he stayed on the pitch for the full 95 minutes, 96 minutes or so. 1-1 final result. But a tough watch. Barring that first 10 minutes when Newcastle were top 10, 15 minutes, and barring that 20 minutes, well, not even 20 minutes, when we made the subs and we went for it, then we looked we looked like we were going to win the game then for a time. And and people are saying as well that the saves, the worldly saves that Neto made, that we were lucky there as well not to have got 3 points. But overall, I think we'll take the draw the way it worked out for sure. But your overall summary of the game, Pete, before we look at the table and a few comments and things like that.
My overall thoughts of the game is that it was not good. It was not a good game at all. For Newcastle United, like I say, first 15, 18 minutes, we were the better team, completely conceded the game to Bournemouth for long parts of it after that point. Bournemouth ball by far the better team, probably could have been 1-2-0 up. We managed to get ourselves back into the game and then we just nearly let it slip last minute. I'll be honest, Daz, I wanted to see something from Newcastle United today. I wanted to see Newcastle United. I keep referring to Bournemouth and the vitality as being the hoodoo at the moment. Eddie Howe still hasn't beat Bournemouth. And I can't think for myself why. And I really wanted to see the team turn up today and put a really good performance in and really comfortably win this game, and we didn't. That's not me disrespecting Bournemouth. That's not me saying, oh, Bournemouth aren't that good, we should just go and win there. I'm not saying that. Bournemouth are a good team, and I've said it to the Bournemouth lads before, but I wanted us to step up and show that we're a better team, and we didn't. We turned up and we basically played the same way that we had at the Vitality the last 2 years. And yeah, it was a concern how poorly we played today. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. There's a few people in the chat that are kind of pointing this at Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe will quite rightly get some stick off the back of that because he ultimately puts the team out. But there are certain players that haven't stepped up so far this season, and it is a bit of a concern. One player that has stepped up, and we're so glad to see him back, is Nick Pope. I thought Nick Pope was brilliant again today. Was very unfortunate to concede one, possibly nearly 2 goals. I thought he was really good. I thought he commanded his area great.
Came out and collected, didn't he, as well? What we missed out for last season.
A real kind of solidity. Yeah, he showed a real solidity.
We're on 4 points now, but without Pope, we're probably 0 points. To tell you the truth, he's been.
I'll just touch on a couple of players that I think really need to step up their game if they want to continue to be in the first team. Like Gordon scored, but other than the goal, I didn't think he played well. I thought he was poor. I thought the goal gave him a new lease of life, and for the rest of the time he was on the pitch, he looked a little bit more lively. But we need to see more from him. We can't afford for Anthony Gordon to have a drop-off season after having an excellent season last season. Of course, he needs to get fit again after going and representing England and having less pre-season time. We will give him that grace, but we need to see him very quickly get back to the form that he showed last season because we need him. We need his goals and assists. So it was great to see him score today, and hopefully that's the kickstart that he needs. Alexander Isak, he was isolated at times because the other two either side of him, Gordon and Murphy, weren't doing enough. But I need to see more from him. I need to see more work off the ball. I need to see more pressing. And more so than ever, I need to see him be selfish. I really want to see a selfish Alexander Isak this season. There was a time where in the first half, we won the ball back quite high up, and he's one-on-one with the centre-back in a wide area. And instead, he tries to play a really difficult ball through to Gordon that ends up getting chopped out. And I'm screaming at him, going, attack him. He doesn't want you one-on-one with him. And it annoyed me even more so that about a minute after that, he had a one-on-one in the same position and he leaves him for dead. And I think it's when he puts the ball across and nobody's there. And it's just like, I need him to be more selfish. We need him to be the striker that we know he can be and what he was last season, where he's just an absolute killer in front of goal. And I want him to be taking more shots. I want him to be shooting more. I want him to be thinking about goals. The best strikers in the world only think about goals and scoring goals and putting that ball into the net. And we need him to be that. We had Alan Shearer that did that. We had Andy Cole that did that. We had Les Ferdinand that did that. Okay, we've had other strikers that have been and gone. Demba Ba was very much the same. Okay, we've had other strikers that are selfish, that just want to score goals. And I need Alexander Isak to be that guy.
Just on Isak, Pete, while we're on Isak, it's that those he must have been very frustrated, like we all were today as well, because in that first half he seemed to be bang up for it. There was a chance there as well. Longstaff was kind of cutting through the middle. If he had played, if he was able to and played the ball to Isak, he was right through on goal, and he let him have a bit of his mind as well for not doing it. And then the second half, the one that I talked about, Barnes had squared it. I think he finishes it. But yeah, he didn't really have enough. There was a long periods in the game where the ball didn't get up into our half of the pitch for him to have any chances. Were that poor at times. So just a frustrating day for Isak. I don't blame him so much today. I think he's raring to go. It's just he needs the service to for a few chances to put some away.
Yeah, quite possibly. But yeah, they're just kind of a couple of players that I think need to step up their performances because we need them. They're such big players for us, and without them, we don't look half the team that we're capable of being. So, be interesting to see. There's other players as well, but we won't go into it. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Daz, about the game as a whole, mate?
Very frustrated from the game, as I said, those periods of time where we were kind of the Newcastle we know, but a lot of it was like 70% of it we were so poor today. And as I think we said as well, like 5 days to go in that transfer window, there's so many problems to be fixed, not enough time to sort everything. It's getting ridiculous now. So many things to get sorted. We've Tonali back, of course. You can take small positives of things like we're 4 points out of 6. We haven't. I was going to say we haven't conceded a goal, but we have. But we haven't. We're unbeaten, I suppose. We haven't lost away in our first away game. So the small little things you can take, but there's so much things to get fixed. And like I'd be starting Barnes and on the left and Gordon on the right. I wouldn't bother with Murphy. He's not doing anything for me. And Kraft Koo as well. I don't think there's a good combination there with Tino and Kraft. It makes me nervous when I see Tino passing the ball back to Kraft. At times, he's not Char, because Char will ping a pass or do what he does. But just we need to get that right centre back in. And then is Eddie going to play him from the off in the game against Spurs? Let's say, never mind the cup game during the week. But yeah, so many things to get sorted. The right winger as well. If we have to get someone else in there as well for the long season ahead. But yeah, we are where we are. Let's go to the table. Let's have a quick look at the table and see where we are in the table. Here we are. So City on top, 6 points. By Brighton as well, up there, only separating goal difference, and Arsenal and Liverpool, all 4 sitting on 6 points. That top 4. Then Spurs with us on 4 and Forest on 4. So 5th, 6th, and 7th. So all in the European positions there. We're sitting in that mix at the moment. Early days, of course. If we zoom down a bit, Chelsea had a good win today. Noni got a hat trick as well. Pete, we could probably rule him out now as in that right wing position.
Mike on social media seemed to take issue with the fact that I wasn't interested in talking about Madueke. The reason being is because, for one, I was talking about the game today. I was talking about us, Newcastle United. But secondly, Madueke already last week it said he wanted to stay at Chelsea. So there's no point talking about a player that doesn't want to come or make a move from Chelsea. He's already said he wants to stay and fight for his place. You know, I wasn't a player. I wasn't a person that necessarily wanted him. I didn't see enough from him. If he goes and proves that this season, that's a different story. But if he goes and proves it at Chelsea ain't going to sell him. So again, it means it's a non-factor. It means like it's like if he goes and has a great season, fair play to him. But he's still a Chelsea player because Chelsea won't get rid of him and we won't sign him. So again, it means that it's not necessarily a topic for us to even be discussing. But look, he's not moving. He's staying at Chelsea this window. So we can only focus on players that are potentially going to come to Newcastle United and the players that we've got currently. And that was the point that I was trying to make. But he then wanted to throw in the Brereton Diaz conversation, which is done now. It's bored. I didn't say what he was suggesting, and Okay.
I haven't seen that, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But no. Look, he's getting his game at Chelsea, and he's not obviously the one that Keith was alluding to there during the week as well, because he's getting game time for Chelsea. They wouldn't play him if they wanted him out. So, if we just zoom down the bottom of the table, Everton down there on bottom, not a great start, along with Wolves, Ipswich, Palace, and Southampton all sitting on 0 points. But look, it's way too early to be talking about the league, so we'll stop sharing that. How about some comments from the chat, Pete? I know there's a lot in it, especially with this just the two of us. But anything that stuck out for you in the chat?
Yeah, I'm quite a little bit behind, so I'm just there's a lot of love for Harvey Barnes in the chat. Stu Amos has said, one of our resident Spaniards, have to say Barnes, Trips and Willett absolutely changed the game for us. Absolutely agree. About Barnes. Barnes had to square it, would have been a state of not shooting. Yeah, I think that's regarding the cross and the shot. Like I said, I didn't see the option to square it, but I'll have to watch that back. But yeah, I think you could probably argue either way. If he squared it, people will say why didn't he shoot, and vice versa. It's one of those conversations. But I didn't even see whether the shot was on. As soon as he had it, I was just like, you need to shoot. I'll hold it there, and we'll come back to some of those questions in just a second. But lots of different comments in there. One from Bill: what channel is the Forest game on? Let's start with that one. Forest game's on Wednesday. I believe it's on Sky.
Yeah, it's on Sky. But if you're wondering, if you're talking about a Forest game, the review of that, I checked out Ben Doer's channel if for that. But no, I know what you mean, Bill. You mean it's on Sky. It's 8 o'clock on Sky. You at that game, Pete?
Possibly. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Keep it. I would sell and record as well for that one.
Stu Amos said, but as bad as we were today, still unbeaten. Neto save what could and should have been 3 or 4 goals. The window is still open, and it's so early in the season. Toon. So yeah, a positive take on that from Stu. Fair play. Your thoughts on that, Daz? Is that the kind of thoughts that you've got right now?
Yeah, I find it difficult to get to that positivity after today, but I've seen other people say that as well, Stu, on Twitter, that look, there were a few worldly saves from Neto today. We could have been celebrating a victory, but I'm just happy we got a point. To tell you the truth, after the adventures today.
Michael Palmer said, "It's not getting any better, is it? Lucky point. In the end, this is not a European chasing team, in my opinion. It's a mid-table at best." Do you share the same thoughts, Daz?
Too early to call that, Michael. For me, with the 5 days left in the transfer window, if we if we get Gay over the line, we get a right winger in, and we can get like the likes of Gordon back to being Gordon. He doesn't look like the same player at all. So we need to get him up to fitness, and then we're a totally different animal, really. And we can kick on. But I can see what you're saying. At the moment, it's not looking pretty. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not the start that we anticipated. But what a few people have put in the chat today, considering the not great start, we're still 6th on 4 points. Still, as you said, still early in the season. Let's see. I think the Spurs game will probably give us a better standing in where we are. That is,
you know what? I'm going to go gung ho in here and say that Spurs game is a 6-pointer, because like away from home against Spurs, it's difficult. But we've had a great track record against Spurs at home, so we need to be winning that game. For me, I've got us and Spurs at 4th and 5th finishing on the table. I think this game is going to be a major factor of if we can overtake Spurs in that for that European spot, for that Champions League spot, let's say. Way too early, and after a performance today to be talking about that, but I think it's key. If we lose that, or if we draw, it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Point here from Clonlad: let's hope Trippier stays. Sets the tone when he came on after a shocking first 60 minutes. Where are you still? Because I think previously you were kind of fine with Trippier going. After today, are you having second thoughts? Daz, are you thinking differently? Where do you stand with Kieran Trippier?
Yeah, up until today, and especially earlier on today, I was Trippier out. But watching as well the JT and Eddie Howe interview on Sky, the little thing they had gone on, whatever, Soccer Saturday or whatever it is. But like they call out his leadership. They call out he's a manager for the future kind of thing as well. Later in his career, he obviously had a lot of things in his head last year going on, and that's why it was disaster last year. That's why I wanted him gone. And I said he's in decline, but he had a good Euros. He's played well today when he came on. He's getting back to fitness now as well. He's a good option to have to kind of dovetail with Tino. Depends what kind of money he's coming in from, but you're not going to be able to. Who do you bring in to kind of as a backup, kind of who's going to sit in that role? Does he want to stay himself? Does he want a fresh start in life? Who knows what's going on in that man's head now? So I don't know. I think I'm willing to see how it plays out, Pete.
It's a difficult one because there's clearly other things going on personal, which I think is why maybe he's looking for that move. I don't know. I'm speculating there, and I do want to try and keep it just football related when I talk about Trippier's situation. But as a player, he's still got a lot to offer Newcastle United, whether he starts, whether he doesn't. He's a technically very good player, and he's a leader, and we need as many leaders as we possibly can in this team. And you've just touched on the point. If he goes, we have to bring in another right back, because for me, I don't think with Tino being number one, there is enough cover for Newcastle United this season. If we lose Tino, and we've lost Tino a couple of times last season for significant periods for various different injuries, if we go through that again and we have to rely on Kraft for a long period of time, I don't think it's enough. I genuinely don't think it's enough on that right-hand side. So I think if we're going to lose Trippier, we have to get somebody in, but it's whether we've got the capacity to do that. And we haven't certainly not got the time to make a number of different signings over this next week. So for me, I do think there may have to be a difficult conversation there. If Trippier wants to leave, I get it. But he's got 2 years left on his deal. I do think we might have to make the tough decision and say, look, you're going to have to play for us for another season, or certainly play for us, and let's have a relook at it again in January, and look at it again. You've got 18 months left. So that's just my opinion on that with regards to Trippier.
Yeah, I'd be happy enough to keep him till January. Because we're not, as you said, the time is we have no time left. The 5 days, we can't do anything about it. And okay, you have Kraft that can fill it right back, because you imagine we're going to get Gahey, but he's not. Yeah, I keep him. I think Pete as well. But it's not. But is he going to be willing to kind of share the role with Tino? That is the big question as well for Trips. There's a lot of questions for the man. That's why I think this picture here of his hand in his head told a lot for me as well today when watching that. It was linked to the game, but it also wasn't.
Yeah, there's a picture of him going around on socials with him, apparently quite emotional after the game. I think he must give his shirt to someone in the crowd, and he's kind of got his hands there, and he looks upset. And it could be for various different reasons, but it's not the type of Kieran Trippier that you want at the club. You want him obviously standing his ground and being that leader. But like I said, we don't know what's going on at this moment in time, and we don't really want to speculate. But he's obviously going through a number of different things, which
none of our business either.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. But Lee Jones says, "Are you concerned that Ruddy was on the bench today? Ruddy and Max Thompson were the goalkeepers that were brought into the squad. No, Lacademos. Dubravka is apparently a concussion. We concerned that concussion? Yes, very very much so. We concerned that was the backup goalkeeper for us today, Daz."
Yes, I'm very concerned with John Ruddy on a bench for Newcastle United in a Premier League game after how many years is it? 2 years, nearly 3 years after a takeover. I am concerned, Pete. Yes, because that doesn't sound right to me. Yeah, it does look like to me, I don't believe by the concussion thing, but he dubs his away. He kind of wants to go from what the what he said during the summer. He kind of about not hearing from the papers about what his future is, and then it's bringing in your man Adi, who Eddie Howe obviously doesn't rate. So are both of them out? And if that's the case, add a goalkeeper to the list of things we need to do in the next 5 days. Does that mean Trafford comes in, the one we've been chasing, who would be a good understudy to Nick Pope? I'd love it was Marmashvili, but I can't see that one being resurrected. So it is a concern, to answer Lee Jones's question. But again, we'll see how it plays out in the next couple of days. Everything is coming to an abrupt end here in 5 days' time. But are you concerned, Pete?
Yes. I mean, look, we've got John Ruddy. For me, I never expected him to be a backup goalkeeper. I expected him to be a third. I didn't expect him to be anywhere near the first team. So the fact that he is our backup for anything go wrong to Pope is a bit of a concern for me. It is a concern. What I'm interested in seeing is what movement's going to be happening this week. Is Dubravka going to go? Is Vlachodimos going to go? Are both going to leave? Do you think if both leave, a goalkeeper comes in? Whether that's a permanent goalkeeper paid for or if a lone goalkeeper, I don't know. But I think if both of them leave, a third goalkeeper or another goalkeeper is coming in to be that backup to Nick Pope. And that presents an interesting situation. But there's no guarantees both leave. We could well have Vlachodimos go out on loan, which seems to have been rumoured, and Dubravka stays, which is not ideal to anybody. But if Dubravka has a concussion, we won't see him again this week. We won't see him at Forest, and we're probably not going to see him at Spurs. So therefore, like that situation is done with.
Yeah, and then Pete, like. There is no excuse if it comes to those goalkeeper changes and then going out on either a loan or being sold and us trying to bring in another keeper. There's no excuse for this having to happen the last 5 days of the window. This could have been sorted well before that. There's too much messing going on here and too much left to this last 5 days. If there's movement on goalkeeper front.
The only thing I'll add to that is that last minute deals always happen towards the end of the window because teams get desperate. Teams shop around for cheaper deals. Deals are able to be negotiated easier with regards to wage contributions if it's a loan, whether it's negotiations with fees. I've just seen a link tonight that apparently Chelsea are looking at throwing Raheem Sterling and Chilwell in a deal to get Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But this is the kind of thing that you tend to see in the last week of the window. Teams get desperate, and let's be honest, not just Newcastle United. Liverpool haven't signed a player all summer. You know, there are other teams that haven't really done lots of deals. Tottenham haven't done lots of deals. Arsenal, like there are other teams that haven't done much business in the window that are almost waiting towards the end to see what deals are available. And I do put Newcastle in that, which is why, you know, I do think you'll see a lot of action in and out. Hayden, Fraser, Alex Murphy, maybe Gran Kowal. There's other players. Target, Carl Lewis. There's players going out.
Yeah, there could be. Some of the loan deals could be lined up, and we're just holding on to them in case you get a big injury. That we shouldn't have sent them out on loan. So there's probably some of them that are lined up, just ready to press the button on. All right, but and as you mentioned, Liverpool, and I saw the build up to the Liverpool game / Newcastle game because they love to throw to cut our coverage short. But yeah, they were saying about Edwards waiting in the long grass for a good deal to come, and yeah, you wouldn't be surprised if they make some kind of a move towards the end by Friday.
Yeah, it could be a busy one, that is for sure. Lots of different opinions here. I'm just going to jump to this just because I wasn't as far as this on the chat, so I'm catching up a little bit. But this was just about the red card. I've just kind of tagged some opinions on this, but like Derek seems to think it should have been disallowed. It was handball in his opinion. Peter says the same. He thinks it was handball. It was handball. Below the shoulder was Harpel. Dave thinks it's handball. Kev thinks it's handball. Derek thinks it's handball. He said it again. Said it twice. N9, I'm not sure, was convinced it was a handball. Thinks it's fair after the clips. You've got C84 that thinks that I'm being biased. Interesting one. Clearly hits his bicep to coin a phrase. And C8 thinks that I'm being biased because I've been justifying it for 10 minutes. Well, this is a review show. We're meant to be reviewing incidences throughout the game. I'm just giving my opinion on it. So if it took 10 minutes for the images, that's fine. But this is what review's all about, C8.
Because that's one of the key interesting points of the game. That's what will be talked about tomorrow by everyone. And, you know,
yeah. So
it'll be talked about in Match of the Day as well tonight. It'll be analysed as well. So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. This is the whole point of his doing the show. He's talking about the different opinions. So there's just a few things in there. There's one interesting view from Kev. Where in the rules did it say you can't clothesline another player? It's not even a booking there. I've not even seen in the chat what people reacted to that, Kev. But that one's an interesting one. But yeah, just some interesting opinions on that. But Genie Esther Wijnaldum, question, Daz. Do you think we should spend majority of the budget on a right winger or a centre back? What's your opinion on this? We've talked about this also, well, but where do you stand with less than a week to go, mate?
Look, if it was me, it'd be the right winger. I'd spend my money on and get a cheaper centre back. But this is what Eddie Howe wants. While Paul Mitchell wants to satisfy Eddie Howe as well, they want that centre back. So that's what's going to happen. As in, they want that particular Marquez option. It's something has to get done now. But it was my choice. If I was playing Football Manager, I'd be spending on the right winger because I think we'd have enough to get us through, and with Botman coming back at some point as well. And I'd go for a cheaper alternative than Marquez.
Okay, interesting. And sticking with the transfer opinions, I'll come to this one. Jimmy has put, question, has your opinion changed about Paul Mitchell? Obviously, the centre of all the talk at the moment, Daz, because he is now the guy that's bringing in the signings. He signs off the deals. He does all the conversations. And Steve Parrish has already talked about the fact with the Mark Gay situation that all of the conversations have come through Paul Mitchell. And a few people in the chat have mentioned they're still convinced that Howe is doing these negotiations. Howe has mentioned that he's not part of these conversations. Obviously, he wants the players that we're going for, but he's not doing the negotiations. It's Paul Mitchell. So, has your opinion changed about Paul Mitchell from what you've seen so far? He's been in a month.
No, but way too early to be making any call on Paul Mitchell. Again, I'll link back to what they were saying about Liverpool and on the coverage of our match. Is that like they do their business, so that they do all their scouting, their analysis of what the target at a year in advance. So like he's coming in the middle of a transfer window into Newcastle. So it's difficult for him to come in and to kind of stamp his authority on things. So way too early on Paul Mitchell, but he does need to show something for out of this week. Whoever we bring in, whatever positions there may be, we need silence by 11 p.m. on Friday. And we need some outcomes as well.
Yeah. Definitely. We definitely need lots of outgoings, and we need more than one player coming in. That is for sure. Big week for Paul Mitchell. He's the guy that's bringing in the signings. He needs to
a lot of people. Exactly, Pete. And a lot of people I see are worried in the chat as well. They're saying we're not bringing in anyone. That's what they're saying.
It's not good for us to feel like that. It's not good for us to feel
no.
like that. Like
especially after what Darren Neal said as well. I've seen the quotes back on Twitter. I can't remember what he said, but it's like transformative, I think was the word that he used. So what's happening?
There you go. We need players in by the end of this window. He needs to get these deals done. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, you could argue that we haven't got the players equipped to do the job this season. Because sorry, go on.
Sorry, Peter. I keep jumping in, and when I see something,
no,
I'm going to go for to Ian Toon Trader, because he goes along with silence. We need more likes. We need more likes. To Ian Toon Trader is all right. We need likes. So smash that like button. As I said in the pinned tweet, like it's a clothesline. Smash that like button. Cheers, Ian.
Yeah. Okay. Let's whip through. Just a few comments. Tony doesn't think there's any players coming in. 10 item is been very opinionated on there. I've got some other points that he's, I think, touched on over the course of the show. He just wants to see Newcastle succeed and win games and trophies. It's what we all do. It's what we all want. That's why we're here. That's why we support the club. You're not the only one. That is for sure. Stu says, do you agree that one of the biggest issues is the majority of the squad lacking technically? What are your thoughts on that, Des?
There's a lot of players that we need to move on. We have moved on some, great servants to the club, Matt Ritchie, Paul Dummett. There's another batch that we need to move on as well. I think Stu had a comment there. There's like Hayden, Lewis. There's loads of players there that they're not going to be getting a game for us. And then there's some that are getting a game for us that maybe shouldn't be. We need to upgrade as well. And you know what? I think when we come to the point of we're looking for a replacement for the likes of Willock, then we're at a good level, because Willock, he's a great player on his day. He frustrated me as well today when he came on, but I know he's still coming back after not playing much football last season. But when we get to the point of Willock is the one everyone's complaining about and that we need to replace, then we're at a good level for me. I know a lot of people will throw Sean Longstaff under the bus as well, who had a great game last week. Difficult for him today, but there's a lot to be done. It can't. It's going to take. We're not going to solve that in the next 5 days, though, Stu.
Yeah, definitely. Trippier for Prime Minister mentioned, I think we touched on this before, we can't play on small pitches because we have workhorses and not technicians, and they struggle when there's too many people close to them. And I have to say, Daz, I agree with this. So I'm just going to jump in there first. The amount of players that can't play with the ball at their feet or really struggle. Sean Longstaff's one of them. Joe Linton's another. Dan Burns struggles at times. Kraft struggled today. Even Tino at times. Like Tino was one of was okay, but again, when you compare him to Trippier, there's a big difference there. And there's too many players that can't play with the ball at their feet, especially in tight spaces. And Tendon Item says in there that smaller pitches is the new excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a real thing. Professional players talk about it. They do talk about playing on wider pitches, smaller pitches, and how it does affect them playing. It's not an excuse for Eddie Howe. This is not about Eddie Howe. This is about the players. And the players didn't perform today. There's a few people saying about people talking about happy clappers and people in the chat because they're not agreeing with their opinion on the fact that it's all Eddie Howe's fault and he needs to be out. Like, we value everybody's opinion. Not everybody agrees. As we've said before, me and Daz don't always agree on comments, and Chris is the same, and we have guests on that don't agree with our points. But it's about discussing it, not pointing the finger because they don't agree with you. It's about having a discussion about it, because there are true points to everything that people are saying, including the people making comments like this. It's part of a discussion.
That's footballers, and that's what all these shows, not only in our channel but other channels as well. It's about sharing each other's. It's no good us all agreeing as well, because you're lying to yourself as well. You might as well give your own opinion on things, or else why you bother? And that goes to the chat as well. You're entitled to give your own opinion, as long as it's put in a respectful way and you're not fighting with others either on the screen or in the chat. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump to the transfer one. Tony puts in there. Why are you so confident on Gay coming? Pete, as well, don't you think we should walk? Palace have made us look like idiots, in his opinion.
Basically, from our show with Keith, I'm confident that it gets done. And we've had plenty of time to walk away and go for someone else. We haven't done, and I really don't. Even everyone outside of the Newcastle fan base, even people on Sky, as in the pundits and stuff, talking, everyone knows Mark Gay is the one we're going for. There's going to be a massive shift if we move away from Mark Gay now, and I think it gets done in the next 2 days. Well, it has to, because we've got to start focusing then on getting the right winger sorted. Maybe a goalie as well if there's more outgoings and stuff. So I just think it gets done, Tony. I can't see it. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. What about you, Pete?
With Mark Gay, I do think it will get done. I do. I think he wants to come to Newcastle. I think Palace will be mad to reject the money that we're potentially going to pay for him, and we need a centre back, and he's the most solid link of all. Tapsoba was another one, but he confirmed in an interview yesterday that he's going to stay at the club, so he's not leaving Leverkusen. So then it opens up what else is out there. And I'll be honest with you, with a week to go, any other option that we're actually looking at away from Malik Chow would be considered a panic buy. So I think at this point you go for the play that you actually want to play for your club, and this is why I think Newcastle will put the extra money up, and this is why they'll try and force through the deal. What I will say is that I expect it to happen, if not tomorrow, by Tuesday, like minimum. Like that is the sort of the maximum amount of time I would give this deal. We have to get this wrapped up ASAP. I'm not expecting to play or be ready for the game on Wednesday, far from it, but I expect him to be signed, ready to be playing on Sunday against Tottenham. That's, for me, that is an absolute necessity. So I do expect to see movement on this very, very quickly, and get this deal for once, just get this deal done. And that kind of answers the question here.
Yeah, I just going to say that. Well, before we go into that one, the Connor made a good point that we need to get him in before he plays in the League Cup game as well, so the MB Cup tie first. And the other thing is, I'm going to that Spurs game. I want to see some new signings, transfer Tony. Yeah. I'm not going all the way to Newcastle to not see new signings. So that's why it has to get done.
Absolutely. Sorry. No, absolutely. This is what we want. We want these players to get back in. Super chat in there. God bless fellas. Tuchel. So that's who he clearly Sniffer wants to be the next manager of Newcastle United. Tuchel. If Eddie Howe gets sacked down the line, definitely part of that conversation, because Tuchel is a very good manager. That is for sure. And I do rate him. There was one comment here and I've lost it. But where was it? Here we go. Something positive from Mick. Breaking news. Newcastle just signed Tonali on a 4-year deal. He is back. Sino Tonali is back. And Tendon Item mentions Tonali has to start on Wednesday. There's no excuse of, he's not match fit. Tonali has 10 months to get himself prepared and match fit. You want Tonali to start Wednesday?
I do, but I only want him to play 60 minutes because I want to see him on Sunday for myself. But yeah, I think start him, but ease him back into it as well, because we want him to play every game going forward. How about you, Pete?
Yeah, I see no reason in starting Sandro Tonali. It's a cup game. It'll be a great opportunity for him to get minutes under his belt. By all accounts, from what we've heard, he's been training really well and and playing well in the practice matches behind closed doors, of course. Why not? Why not play him? We need our best players up to speed as soon as possible. And Tendon Item's right in what he's saying. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. You get match fit by playing minutes. It's as simple as that. So you play the player because he needs to play. We did the same with Gordon. Gordon had barely played any minutes and started against Southampton. He didn't play well, but it boosted him and gave him those additional minutes to be able to build on. He's now got another, 70, 80 minutes under his belt again today. So he's building up his fitness. We need to do the same with Sandro Tonali. The sooner we get Sandro Tonali to match full fitness, the better it's going to be for Newcastle United. And for those that bemoan Sean Longstaff, and a lot of the time rightly so, it means that the quicker Sean Longstaff finds himself on the bench and Sandro Tonali starts. So all makes to be a positive by having Tonali playing on a regular occasion. Just Michael put on a good discussion for tonight. In what role do we think Tonali is going to play? Is it going to be a 6 or a number 8 as a box to box? Where would you play him as?
I play him in the Sean Longstaff position myself, because I leave Bruno where he is in that kind of 6, and Joe Linton and Tonali, and then have the options off the bench with Willock and Longstaff to freshen things up as well. But those are the 3 I'd be starting with, and in that order. I know you could switch, move Bruno a bit further forward and put Tonali there, but I think that's the way I'd go. But who knows what tricks Eddie has up his sleeve on that front, how things have been going in training, and it'll be interesting to see. But I imagine that's where he'll sit.
Yeah, I think he'll be the same. And if he starts on Wednesday, which I hope he does, I hope Bruno's starting alongside him. Bruno misses him. When those two connect together, they've got an understanding with the ball in terms of keeping possession. And adding a ball player that can keep possession is crucial for our midfield. We saw it today. Joe Linton giving the ball away. Sean Longstaff not being comfortable on the ball and always looking to go backwards and kind of, ruining a positive moment where we're looking to push forward because he's always looking for the backwards pass. We need someone that's going to be progressive, someone that's confident on the ball, willing to play a pass, and Sandro Tonali will give you that. So playing him in that staff role, definitely, I agree.
I think Tonali's maybe just wishful thinking and like the ending of a movie or something. But Tonali, player of the season, incoming.
Oh, I would take that. I would take that. That is for sure, because if he's player of the season, it means he's playing some very, very good football for us. And if Sandro Tonali is playing good football for us, Daz, then it means we're doing good stuff, in my opinion. So, yeah, I would take that. M Toon says, Pete, you never talked about an ex anymore, ghosting me. I'm not ghosting you. I might not have seen your comment, and I apologize if you have put it on there. I will go and purposefully look for you after the show. I think I've responded to you loads of times over the course of summer. We have some good interactions, so do not worry about that. NUFC Luke has a question, Daz. Who would you start at left back for Spurs? You're going to be there. Who do you want to see starting, mate?
Right. Every time we have a Spurs away day, the Spurs fans usually lick their lips at the prospect of trips start. No, it maybe more so when we're playing away. But I want Hall to start at left back. Yeah, Hall to start there. And I know that I think that differs from you Pete, but we're at home. I want us to go gung ho attack. Hall can defend as well. I know I get the idea today having Kelly on, and he's more defensive and not attacking as such. And Hall is more of the attacking fullback. But I think at home I'd play Hall.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still go Kelly. I didn't think Kelly had a bad game. I thought he played okay, but I thought Hall came on at the perfect time when we were really pushing the game and we were really attacking, and we almost kind of threw caution to the wind because we wanted to get back into the game, and that was perfect for Hall in those little transitions. I do worry about Hall defensively. I do worry about
against Brendan Johnson. He'd be
possibly. I think he's likely to be the one, and he's electric fast, and that I do worry about that pacing and behind. I do think he's got the ability to stop Brendan Johnson, because technically I don't think he's overly great, but it's that pace running in and behind that I worry about. But we're at St. James's Park, so for me, in the way we've played against Tottenham the last few times, I should maybe be a little bit more confident and go, you know what, let's go play Hall, let's go be attacking. Maybe I'm being too negative mentally about our how we set up. So yeah, maybe go Hall and bring Kelly on. If we're winning and we want to see out the game, we want someone more defensive minded. Maybe do that. So yeah, how about start Kelly against Forest, play Hall on Sunday against Spurs? I think that's it.
Yeah, at least we have the option. At least we have the option to do that now as well. That's in one position. We can kind of alternate there. Of course, I suppose there's Target in the mix as well, but we think Target might be someone to go out and loan as well. So
definitely. There are other comments and questions in here. Just a comment on here from Dave. Semenyo was excellent today for Bournemouth. We need a right winger in bad time for the club to step up with a few days left. We've already mentioned it.
He's 24. Great age. We definitely take him. He's hardly the one we've lined up to get in on loan to buy. I very much doubt it. But
Gordon got the highest rating today, Daz. He got an 8.2 on the player ratings, but I thought Semenyo was probably arguably the best player on the pitch. I thought he was definitely. He got a 7.6. I think Tavernier got rated higher than him, an 8.1, just behind Gordon. But I thought Semenyo was the best player on the pitch. I thought he was excellent.
He was excellent. I agree with that. He'd be the overall man of the match.
Yeah,
he's very dangerous.
I'm going to fly through some of these questions, Daz, but there are some comments. It's a comment, but I'm going to change it into a question. Tony Beasley says, positive from today. Barnes looked sharp, which he did. Would you start him against Forest, or would you start him against Spurs, or both?
If we've... Even if we bring in the right winger, Eddie won't start him straight away. So for Spurs, I go all out attack, and I know because we're at home, because I go Barnes, Isak, Gordon, and I go Hall, Dan Burn, Kraft, because we got no one else. We might have Gay in there. Yeah, Gay hopefully in there, and because he will play him, because we have to, and then Tino, Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton. So that'll be my team for Spurs against Forest. I'd be. I know we want to have a great cup run, and it's a competition we can win. I wonder what kind of team Forest will put out as well. We have enough players to kind of mix and match. But
I'll add this question.
Maybe give Barnes some time, though. Give him some minutes.
I'll add this to what you're saying, answering that question. Michael Palmer says, "Do you play a full-strength team at Forest?"
Yeah, that was linked to that question as well. I had a question for myself today that I never checked. Do Spurs play midweek as well? Do they have? Are they exempt being in Europe? They come in at a different stage. Let me see. And if so,
they're in Europe, so I think they come in the next phase, the next.
So they have a free week. That's
unless they're in Europe this week, they might be in Europe.
Let me see. Well, yeah, maybe because of the game on Sunday, maybe they are. So let me just refresh that. Do they have to qualify?
Europa League's on. It is on. So I'm just checking to see if they're in it.
It's Europa League qualifying though.
Yes.
They go straight in.
Yeah. They're not playing on Thursday.
So it looks like they don't have a game. So they have a fresh week. So I'd be cautious about who I'm playing and for how long I'm playing them. I know, because I'd want them to be as fresh as possible going into that game against Spurs.
Yeah, fair point. I'm going full strength. Certainly starting the game that way to try and win the game early, and then bring some players off. You can make 5 subs now, bring those players off. I would. I'd make changes. So like I said, I'd bring Barnes in. I'd start Barnes. I'd bring Sandro Tonali in for Longstaff. I'd go Bruno, Sandro, Joe Linton. Maybe after today's performance, you can maybe switch that and put in Willock. Who knows? But I would try and keep it as strong as possible. Maybe even start Kelly instead of Burn, or start Kelly and Burn if there's no centre back in. Start Trippier instead of Tino Livramento. He's still relatively strong in those positions.
Yeah, it's strong. It's a strong team.
It's still a strong team. Pope has to start.
It's stronger than last year. What we could put to the pitch.
Absolutely.
It will be interesting. Another thing to keep an eye on in a busy week.
Definitely. Just a quick one here. No Keith Downey either. Congratulations to Keith, friend of the channel, for his little daughter. Great to see that. And we did say to him on behalf of the channel that he might well make deadline day yet. After he's had some time with the little one for a few days. Maybe not. Let's see. But yeah, that'll be very, very interesting. But
a shout out to Liam as well. A shout out to
Liam watching. Great to know that we've got a fan in the Downey household. That's for sure. Keep it up. Keep watching and let people know where they can find us. Daz, is Eddie under pressure if we're dumped out on the cup on Wednesday?
He's under pressure for the whole season, because this is a massive season for him. But yes, he would be. But I was just gauging as well, and I didn't come to a conclusion in my internal question as what's more important, beating Spurs and trying to maintain a European run or staying in the cup. The answer is both. Both are equally important. But he would be under pressure. Not under pressure as in his job, but just under pressure in general. He seemed a bit stressed at the last press conference as it is. There's a lot going on for him. But no, not his. He's got this season, and he needs to deliver.
I agree with the first part that you said, Dad. Eddie Howe's under pressure all season. It's as simple as that. And this is the thing where I think those aren't pillows, tendon item, and there's a few others that have come in and been very strict on Eddie Howe, saying he's garbage, saying he needs to be out, this, that, and the other. They're your opinions, but people in the chat are not happy clappers. They're being kind of patient and seeing what's to be produced this season. We can't just go game by game. 1 minute he's great, next minute he needs to be out, and keep having that all season. But what we'll do, we'll assess it over the season. But we've been very clear as a channel right from back in April, May time. Eddie Howe has to minimum get his European football. If he doesn't, he'll get sacked. Internally, PIF, I think, will want Champions League football this season. And so they even might decide, even if he gets Europe, to pull the trigger on him and say, not quite enough what we wanted. We're going to look for somebody else. We might well get that this season, because there are expectations. But Daz, you're right. There's pressure on him regardless of the cup. But there'll be an expectation that we have a cup run. So for me, this is a must-win game on Wednesday. It's a massive game. Has to win, which is why I said he needs to go full strength. We haven't got Champions League or any European competition to distract us. Our distraction is the Carabao Cup up until Christmas. So we need to be making sure that we're winning these games. And
yeah, he's got, like, he had credit in the bank after saving us from relegation, from getting into the final season, getting us into the Champions League. Last year, there's so many injuries. The excuses have run up now. This is the season where he has to deliver, as in to a certain standard. And Yeah, if we come to after Christmas and we're in 10th position and it's not looking like we're getting anywhere near Champions League, then under pressure for sure. But it's too early yet. We're about 6th of the table, 4 points out of 6. Not too bad, really. Not an easier start to the season, but still not too bad.
Yeah, but Paul Sprague says this: 4 points from the first 2 games is okay, especially when we've been not great.
Yeah,
not necessarily his words, but not great in both games, and that
is chippy.
Maybe. To be fair, I've said words, so yeah, I could have said it. I think that's also a fair assessment to have. Despite not being pleased with the football that we've seen. But these aren't pillars come back and said, what I can't accept is Sokol fans who won't have anything critical said towards the team manager, even if it's warranted. Look, everybody's different. Some people don't want to hear the negativity. Some people have had enough of negativity. We had 14 years of it under Ashley. They just want to see the positive side in it because we've got new owners. Whereas there are other people that are very much, they want success, they want it now, they want to see better performances, they want to see it instantly. And then you've got some people in the middle that are being maybe a little bit more patient with it and just overseeing and will have their opinion after, say, maybe 10 games or by January, or they might assess at the end of the season and go, you know what, those that were saying it were right, he's not done enough, he needs to go. But everybody's got different opinions. And like as a channel, I think we've been quite critical of Eddie Howe. Certainly over the last 8 or 9 months from December, January, where we were critical of him and continue to be so. But
talk about being ruthless and a number of different things like that, and have been willing to change the squad, make changes, keep going. What do you remember when he used to keep going with the same 11 and used to change it and so on and so forth? There's been times when we've been showed frustration, but we're also balanced on things, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I knew you were winding me up. No, you're trying to keep up the Madweki hype, that is for sure. Last couple from me. Got Gay from Sean. Sean said, forget Gay now. We need 3 in, centre back, CDM, and right mid. What do you think, Des?
I can't see a CDM coming. We last year we talked about it, that the need for it is the way Eddie Howe plays, and then I just cannot see that happening. But then if you think about it as well, in that Sky thing today, Eddie, in a spoiler alert, Eddie Howe picks out Rodri as his player he'd love to have. You know, or he's best player in the Premier League kind of thing. So, but yeah, no, I can see centre back and right winger. I can't. Maybe goalie if the keepers get if there's a bit of kind of musical chairs in the keepers. But that's I can't see anything else. And I saw Graham Bailey linking us to Dominic Calvert-Lewin against them.
I did laugh at this. I laughed and then I frowned and then I thought, I wonder if Daz is frowning at the same time as reading.
Yeah, I probably was.
Brilliant. I'm not sure if you already brought this up, but Jamie Burton, brilliant stuff. Member for 27 months, absolutely amazing. We're going to have a prize draw coming up soon. So anyone that's not a member, make sure you're a member, because then you'll be put into the prize draw with the chance of winning some prizes. Got to keep Trippier, made a big difference today. We talked about that quite a bit today. We are in agreement.
Great point on the draw. We really need to have a draw. We haven't had a draw for a while. So yeah, we want to get the finger out. There's so much happening.
I tell you what, I think we've probably got a number of different shows coming up in the next week or so. We'll get one over the next week or so. So keep an eye on that one. Tony mentioned on the back of Paul Sprague's comments, if we beat Spurs, it's been an excellent start. If we don't know, it's been very underwhelming. So it could be on a knife edge, that Spurs game. Add to that the Forest Cup game. If we win and go through, it could mean things are seen very, very differently.
And then there's add in the other factor or kind of external factors. People saying, is Eddie being backed in the transfer window? Does he have the confidence of Piff and blah, blah. There's an awful lot of circus going around it as well. So big week, as I keep saying.
Jordan 2 for Life just echoes what we've just talked about with regards to Keith Downey. Great stuff on that. And this did make me laugh. I thought, I've got to put this on what Claire said. Hate to be petty, but Palace losing again made me smile. I'm convinced that Newcastle's Twitter account, X account, whenever the final whistle goes, they just put on a picture, and it's always a smiling picture of some sort. Some people thought it was a Southampton game. I'm convinced it's a Palace one. That would have been twice, instantly after a Palace game.
Same picture.
Yeah. So let's see. But yeah, that did make me made me smile as well. I'm not gonna lie. And last one from Michael Palmer. Anyone else wanting to see more from PIF right now? They are ultra aggressive in their other sports ventures, but seem passive with Newcastle United. Lawyer up to tackle FFP PSR. What do you think, Daz?
Yeah, it is. I get what you're saying, Michael. There, I know they're hamstrung around FFE PSR anchoring next year, but yeah, I just want us to go and get the money we can spend and legitimately spend as well. Spend that first, and then worry about the other things after that. But yeah, it's. And I also want to get to see them make some kind of movement on top of that as well, on the multi-club model, and there's a lot of things to get sorted. I think step by step, it can't all happen together either. But I do get what you're saying about challenging the Premier League as well. But we don't even know what the outcome of the Man City case, and then there's so many more things on top of that. So we probably have to be patient.
Yeah, I do think they're still interested in Newcastle United, but I think they have come to realise that it is going to be a patient game. I think if it was the case of we were City and Chelsea and we had the capacity to go and spend, I think you would see more of a kind of an influx and an involvement in there, because I think they'd be splashing the cash. I think you'll see more of an involvement in PIF when it's announced what's happening with the stadium. And then again, what's happening with the training ground. I think you'll see their kind of little stardust sprinkled on it, and you'll see more of an involvement in them. But at this moment in time, we've got enough money to keep ourselves ticking over. They're inputting money when we need it, and that's all they need to do at this time. So I think that's why we're not seeing very much a hands-on approach. But the more we gain commercially, the more we're able to spend more, the more we're in the big competitions, the more involvement I think we'll see. But I'm not worried about that. But I think it's a great question. We've had some great questions tonight. Just last couple of comments, not necessarily questions.
Before you do,
go for it.
5 days to go. 5 days to go. Piff, Paul Mitchell, Eddie Howe. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely. This wasn't true, by the way, and I just wanted to bring this up for that reason. I spoke to D, who's a Palace fan who was at the game, about the lap of honour, and people jumped on it, saying it was a sign. It's not. Apparently, he does it every game. And a few Palace fans, but D in particular, who goes to every home game, says it's something that he does, so not to read anything into it. And lastly, from I imagine is a Chelsea fan, Rich Moneymaker says, guys, if you don't get a centre back, I think he means you can have Axel Disasi. And I did like this comment.
Keep
what is it? From Paul Spragg. Don't want disaster off you. That's what he's also referred to, not Disasi, but Axel Disaster, which I agree with.
I agree too.
Yeah, so I've stopped us as well. And great comments and questions in tonight. Some good discussions on all different topics, which is what it's all about. And I'm not going to lie, those conversations, Daz, on those great questions in tonight have distracted me from that performance for a little bit.
Good. Because you don't want to get your head in a jumble up for this big week ahead, people. Just a quick shout out. I'm not going to go too mad into the sponsors, but a quick shout out to the Radiator Shed and Russ at theradiatorshed.com. Use the code LOADED20 and contact Russ on 077-666-04112 for 20% off. And also with Manscaped, if I just scroll, they have got there it is at the bottom for 20% off all your Manscaped products. Use the code LOADED20. We'll do the big promo again, and the bit that everyone loves to hear. We'll have to get Pete to do it as well we'll do it during the week. But yeah, for your 20% off, use the code LOADED20 at checkout and get you sorted. That is it. We'll definitely be back this week. There's a lot. There'll be fully loaded transfer show. There will be top table talk. There will be an away days. There will be this. There'll be a reaction sign to some of our signings and maybe some of our outgoings as well. So there's a massive week ahead on Loaded.
But there won't be this.
There definitely won't be that.
No.
Hans' shower tree can stay where he is. That is it. That is your lot for tonight. We're not on 6 points, but we're on 4 points after 2 games. We haven't lost, and we haven't lost away either. So plenty of good things, plenty of things that can be improved upon. Jordan Chuvalife wants the Isaac Jude with the spell of the mistake, and because I'm not changing that because I can't without you creating a whole new video. But you can have it the way it is. That's it. Good night, everyone. How'd you like that? Nah.